Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Ohio.
Live from Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, Fox Sports Ohio presents Cincinnati Reds baseball. Cincinnati, the home of the Flying Pig Race. Well, the Reds have been flying high of late. Their last 4 games, their pitchers have been outstanding. Add it all up, and the Reds have their biggest lead of the season. 7 games going into tonight's play in the National League. It's Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. Hi, hello, and welcome to Great American Ballpark, everyone. Along with the crafty left-hander Chris Welch, I'm George Grant. 1 run the last 34 innings. These last 4 games have been something else.
It really has been amazing, George. You know, you got to figure what kind of confidence that this pitching staff gives the rest of the team when they know that they don't have to go out and just bash the ball all over the ballpark or score a lot of runs to get a W on the board. You know, with the way these starters have pitched, take, for instance, last 4 games, 3-0, 0.8 earned run average, a 150 batting average against. I mean, that's just incredible. So you got all these guys throwing the ball real well, and you're sending a man to the mound tonight in Homer Bailey, who's very capable of doing the same thing.
Well, you add all those numbers up, and Mike Leake put an exclamation point on it last night. He outpitched maybe the Cy Young Award winner of this year, R.A. Dickey. And look at the numbers, Chris. The video looked fine, but the numbers look even better.
Well, if you're looking at this video and these numbers from Dusty Baker's standpoint, you're thinking, I've got a well-rested bullpen. If I have a blow-up by a starter, no problem at all. I've got a day-night doubleheader coming up later in the week. Couldn't happen at a better time because his bullpen right now is as strong as it has been all year long.
You always say keep the ball rolling. That job belongs to Homer Bailey tonight.
Well, Homer Bailey's capable. I mean, he pitched a very good game his last time against the New York Mets. He was dealing in that ball game. 8 innings of 1-run baseball for Homer. In fact, he's pitched twice in New York this year, and he's pitched very well both against the Yankees and against the New York Mets back on June the 16th. You know, for Homer Bailey, it's the same thing. He can't try to go out there and throw the ball as hard as he can. He needs to change speeds. He's a newer, improved Homer Bailey, and I think if he keeps his focus tonight, he'll give the Reds the same thing they've seen the last 4 outings.
He goes against Matt Harvey, a youngster out of the University of North Carolina in Connecticut who's really got some tools. A youngster who's looking to win his second. It's Harvey against Bailey tonight. The Reds against the Mets as the Reds try to sweep 3 from the Mets before the Cubs come to town. Hey, sometimes it's the pitching, but sometimes it's Fractious Frazier that gets the job done. Like last night. That's coming up next.
authority of the Cincinnati Reds and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
The brooms are out at Great American Ballpark. They need umbrellas before the night is over. And tonight's weather report is brought to you by Thompson Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Drain Cleaning. Here's Michelle Boudelette with tonight's forecast.
A few showers and thunderstorms this evening when you head down to the Reds game at the ballpark. 83 early on, 79 by the 7th inning stretch, 75 degrees by the end of the game. Temperatures much like yesterday, but showers and thunderstorms will be in the forecast. For Fox Sports Ohio, I'm Local 12 meteorologist Michelle Boudelette.
Thanks, Michelle. You've been good luck to us. Maybe we can do it again tonight. Chris, number 21 has been good luck for the Reds, too.
Yeah, I'm not so sure how much luck this is, being able to hit a ball 474 feet. I think there's a little bit of talent involved there, too. There certainly is a lot of talent and bat speed and enthusiasm. When he takes the field, I don't think there's one guy in the major leagues that is more appreciative of his days in the major leagues than is Todd Frazier. He's a fun guy to be around, George, and right now he's a guy that is carrying his ball club along with some others. It's amazing what he's done. Last 6 games, you give him a chance to play, look what he's done. Batting average north of 500. He's had 2 home runs, 7 runs batted in. Keep it going, Todd Frazier.
Frazier trying to keep it going. So are the Reds. They're trying for another victory, going for an 8th sweep of the year. Coming up next, the Mets lineup. Ohio is being brought to you by the 2012 Ford F-150 Motor Trend Truck of the Year by Cincinnati USA. Let us be your travel guide to Cincinnati USA. Visit CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili. Hey, game time is Skyline time. Stop by your favorite Skyline Chili today. Welcome back to Great American Ballpark. Homer Bailey ready to go to work against the Mets as the Reds try to sweep 3 from this New York team coming in for the final time. The Reds played 2 series in New York, 2-game series, and they wrap it up with this 3-game set here. Bailey against the Mets on the 16th of June earned a 4-1 win, 8 innings, 6 hits, 1 earned run. He was great. Allowed only an RBI double by David Wright in that ball game. He's ready to face Tejada, Baxter, and Wright to start it off. First pitch swinging. Popped up. Who will get there? Frazier will. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for Terry Collins and the Mets. Tejada's been outstanding in the leadoff spot and at short, the 22-year-old from Panama. Mike Baxter bats second. David Wright has had an outstanding year with the bat and the glove. Ike Davis will hit in the cleanup spot. Scott Harrison will get the start at center. Justin Turner, a former Red, at second. Jason Bay, injury-marred season, bats seventh. Chapik and then Harvey. That's your Mets batting order, and here's Homer, Chris.
Well, Homer Bailey, with that record of 10-7 this year, has now run his career record to 5 games over 500. He's won 35. He's lost 30. Tonight, making start 102 in his major league career.
You look at those numbers, Chris, the one that jumps out at you, you talk about career, 141 innings pitched. Do we have to keep an eye on him in the final 6 weeks?
Well, I'm sure that everybody's keeping an eye on him. He's never pitched that many. His last year in 2011, when he went 132 innings, that was his maximum of the year. But he was on the disabled list a little bit. He stayed healthy all year. I think the adjustments that Homer Bailey has made this year are twofold. One is he's dropped his arm angle slightly to help avoid some problems with his shoulder, because it's always been a balky shoulder for Homer when he has gone wrong physically. And the other thing is that he's not the full effort pitcher that we see in the past, where he rears back and tries to throw the ball as hard as he can every time. He's learned how to pitch, and I think he's been a lot better because of that.
The Reds' rotation has been a lot better this year, and he's one of the reasons why. Outstanding rotation. The Reds, the only team with 5 starters, only 5 starters to go the entirety of the season. That will end on Saturday when the Reds have a doubleheader. They will call up a pitcher to start the second game of the doubleheader in all probability. Johnny Cueto has indicated he'll probably go in the afternoon encounter, and there will be a replacement pitcher in the evening. Here's David Wright. He's been up and down, but still has the 6th highest batting average in the National League. And he's in the top 10 in runs batted in, facing Bailey here. Bailey wanted that pitch, doesn't get it. It's 2-1.
Boy, ball coming out of Homer's hand, very easy tonight. Nice, easy motion, 94 on the gun. That's what you like to see.
Slapped the other way. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Right in at 321 with the 16 home runs and 75 knocked in. Prior to this year against the Reds, 351. One of the keys to the Reds' success against the Mets this year, those numbers. They pretty much handled him, pitching him away most of the time, and he just hangs in there. Interesting, you watch Jay Bruce out at right, and Bruce plays a chess match with Wright. I mean, Wright usually drills the ball to left and left center, but he's kind of gotten on to the fact that the Reds are pitching him away. So Jay Bruce now goes 2 or 3 steps towards the line, expecting Wright to go that way. Here's the 2-2. Boy, he just missed again.
Well, you make a good point, George, because it's not only the pitcher and catcher that are alerted to what the scouting report is, it's the other players too. So you position them as to how you're going to pitch them.
Right field, there goes Bruce. He won't get there in time. It'll drop in front of him.
Well, you can't protect against a bloop.
Playing in the right spot, but off the end of the bat, it drops in front of him. So a 2-out base hit. Here's Ike Davis, and here's your Ford defensive alignment. The Reds with only 62 errors, second best in baseball. Ludwig, Stubbs, Bruce in the outfield solid. Rowland, 8 Gold Gloves. Cozart, Phillips, outstanding double play combos. Frazier's been great replacing Votto at first, and Devin Mesoraco catching again. He gets Homer Bailey tonight. That's the Reds' Ford defensive alignment. Terry Collins and Bob Guerin, the bench coach, the manager and bench coach respectively for this club, admiring the way the Reds play defense. Said, you know, your defense is great here, but it was even better in our park. And that's so true. In the big parks, the Reds outfield, especially Heisey when he's out there, and Stubbs and Bruce, that defense is so important here, but it's even more important on the road.
Well, you're right, because you're talking about some very fleet-footed outfielders that can run them down. And you know, you mentioned Heisey in there, but Ryan Ludwig has shown himself to be one of the best outfielders we've seen in left field for a long time with the Reds. And just an airtight defense all the way around. It's one reason why this pitching staff is so good. Rarely do you see him make a mistake. Rarely do you see a ball that goes into a gap that should have been caught. You take 2 or 3 of those a week away, and all of a sudden you're saving yourself a whole bunch of pitches. and pitchers.
There's Davis at 213. 20 homers, 63 knocked in. You know, managers and bench coaches and defensive coaches, you know, on this club, Tom Goodwin, the first base coach, is the outfield coach. For the Reds, Billy Hatcher's the outfield coach. They have an inner clock, and when a ball goes in the air, they almost count to themselves, 1,001, 1,002. You get past 1,002 and the ball's not caught, it hits the dirt. Somebody should have caught it, right? When you got speed, you got a chance.
Well, especially if you've got them playing right. I mean, there are times when obviously you're going to hit a deep ball opposite field, you fool everybody, and it's going to fall in there. But for the most part, these guys cut the balls off. And in this ballpark, you're right, it may not be as important as it is when you're on the road playing in a bigger ballpark, because most of the things that hit over your head here, well, they're home runs.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
That's where you'd like to get Ike Davis if you can. I mean, he's a guy, if you watch him, he holds his hand high. They look like they're in kind of a normal setup. And when he's ready to swing, he drops his hands in a big hitch, gets him down around the waist. If you can throw a high fastball with something on it, you got a chance to get him pop up or strike out.
He got him. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Homer. They strand a runner. Homer takes a breather. Cozart to the bat rack. The starting lineup of the Reds manager, Dusty Baker. The lineup has Zach Cozart leading off. Drew Stubbs bat second. Brandon Phillips installed in that number 3 spot. Lovato still on the DL, has played well. How about Ludwig? He's been great. And Bruce, 3 straight games of the homer. Todd Frazier had the 474-foot homer last night. Rolen also homered. Mesoraco catches Bailey. That is your Cincinnati Reds batting order. Our Farmers Insurance report card. Big number 33, Chris. Pitcher out of Connecticut by way of the University of North Carolina. He's a hard thrower.
He is. The averages already. Now, he's only pitched 4 major league games, 4 starts, but he averages nearly 95 miles an hour on his fastball. Everything's hard. His slider's hard. His curveball's hard. His changeup is 86 miles an hour. There are some pitchers that throw their fastball at that level, but he had 2 hits in his first ball game. He also struck out 11 in his major league debut. That was against the Diamondbacks.
When you say some pitchers,
well,
might
Chris,
that have been you?
Well, yeah, definitely. That's a little hard for me, actually. I never did quite reach 86 as an average. But Chris Young the other night, for instance, would be right around that average. Bronson Arroyo's maybe an out mile per hour or 2 harder than that. So, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to get it done, in other words. But when you have an arm like Matt Harvey does, you're going to be probably a top-round draft pick, and that's exactly what he was. First-round pick, Mets 2010. He was the 7th pick in the draft, as you said, out of the University of North Carolina.
Drafted originally in 2007 when he was the player of the year in Connecticut from Fitch High School in Groton. Then from there, decided to go to North Carolina. Labeled a work in progress at NC. And that progress has taken him to the major leagues. A bulldog kind of a young man. Cozart off the end of the bat, loops it into left. There comes Jason Bay, his first action of this series. Hauls it in and is one away. Here's your four defensive alignment for the Mets. Different look for tonight. Jason Bay gets his first start. Scott Hairston, Jerry Hairston Jr.'s younger brother, in center. Mike Baxter in right. David Wright, the Gold Glover, at third. Tejada matched with Justin Turner, the former Red, at second. Ike Davis at first. And Kelly Shopik, just acquired from the Red Sox, will catch Matt Harvey. That's your four defensive alignment. All of Harvey's starts to this point were with Rob Johnson behind the plate. He and Johnson were teamed down at AAA. Johnson brought up in his first couple of starts. He had Johnson behind the plate. This is the first time Shopik will catch any of the Mets starters. Kelly said, all I could do is really look at video, and hopefully we'll be on the same page. Shopik, good catch and throw guy, great guy to have on a club, Chris.
He is. He's a solid guy. The Mets need some catching help, and he was available.
Shopik by way of Boston, and when he left town the day before yesterday, there's a bouncer wide as short. Tejada, quick flip, nice, huh? He's smooth at short, 22, but he plays better than his age, that's for sure. Two away, and here comes Brandon Phillips. Shopik said, when I left town, all my teammates were coming over, and half of them were saying, I wish I was coming with you. It's been kind of an ugly period for Red Sox faithful in the stands and in the clubhouse too. Kelly, of course, has been in the American League too. Is with the Indians.
Actually, if they actually did go to Kelly Shopik and say that, and they may have, George, they would be trading a team that would be only, and I say only, with the Boston Red Sox, 13.5 games out, to join the Mets to be 17.5 games out.
But it's, you know, it's like you talk.
If you're being a losing team, you want to pick your own friends. Is that right?
Yeah, it's like you say. You know, there are pitches and there are pitchers under stress. Well, there are losses and there are losses under stress. I think the losses per stretch figure for the Red Sox has been more this year.
Yow.
Here's Turner. Ouch. Off the hands. 1, 2, 3, go the Reds. Harvey has a clean inning. Here's Justin Turner to lead it off.
Well, yeah, you're worried about it, but I mean, if he's feeling good, maybe he's gotten over the hurdle on training and how to take care of his arm and how to warm up. You know, we've been worried about it all year. You know, if you recall, when I took him out of a game against the Tigers, I got a lot of flack for taking him out of that game because we were concerned about, you know, keeping that count down so he could get to this point. So, yeah, you're always concerned, but hopefully, you know, we know we've gotten past that hurdle.
Dusty Baker. This game's storylines brought to you by Elk & Elk, serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. He's addressing the issue that we just talked about, the innings for Homer coming in.
Have we ever been in a baseball season where there has been so much emphasis and attention paid to the number of innings pitched by pitchers? I mean, I know it's all Steven Strasburg, okay? I mean, he's kind of started the snowball, but, I mean, at some point, don't you just have to go out and let him pitch?
Yep. No balls, 1 strike. Jim Maloney telling us about the 170 some odd pitches he threw in his no-hitter.
Well, those are in particular games, but even going back to his era, I mean, George, you knew Robin Roberts. I played for Robin Roberts. 6 consecutive years of 300 innings. Now, if you pitch 200 innings, you're a local hero. So, you know, I like Jim Cott's saying from way long ago that it will rust off before it wears off.
Yep.
So you keep using it.
Harrison, Turner, and Jason Bay do up 5, 6, and 7 for the Mets. 2 balls, 1 strike. Ripped past Roland, missed it by about 4 inches, and a bullet base hit into left.
There's something about the Harrison family. I don't know what it is, but these guys can hit a fastball. Jerry Harrison Jr., when he was here, really good high fastball hitter. That's a high fastball, too, because it's belt high, and he just lays the wood to it.
Scott's brother, Jerry, on the disabled list now. He hopes to get back before the season's over. He's got a hip injury. He was having a good year. Hopefully, he'll be back. So leadoff hitter on, and here's Justin Turner, pretty good handler of the bat. First couple of years in the Reds organization. Good solid young player for the Reds. Last played for the Reds down in Sarasota. Has struggled to get time at second base because they've given a lot of time to Daniel Murphy. But a good solid young player. Steps out, takes a look at Tim Tuffle, who's in the third base coach's box. Tuffle, the infield coach, has herded Turner and Murphy through in that second base year. Outstanding baseball instructor. And Tom Goodwin, the former Major League outfielder, is the first base coach. That's the I formation coaching theory. Right behind. 1 ball. Hairston, decent speed. Forget about him, he'll steal a base on you. That's a strike, says the home plate umpire Jim Joyce. Dan Iasonia's at first, Jim Reynolds at second, and James Hoy is your third base umpire. A little bit inside. Overall, Turner at 279. No homers yet. 16 knocked in. Had a couple of big games. 1 4-hit game against the Cubs back in July. And a decent handler of the bat. Wouldn't be surprised to see ahead in the count. Terry Collins might hit and run, might move the runners a little bit, trying to get some offense going.
Yeah, the only problem with that, when you've got a pitcher like Homer Bailey who can be a strikeout pitcher, you don't want to have a hit and run on a guy that is not a real great base stealer, and then you turn that into a throw him out.
In search of offense, the Mets have been there this whole series.
Well, coming into last night's ball game, they've been shut out 3 times in the last 6 games. So you include last night, you can't call it a shutout, but they only did score 1 run, and that 1 run came on a ground ball double play, first and third. So when you say searching for offense, you're right. I mean, offense right now, the Mets is a 2-0 count.
Here's the 3-2. Will he be going? He is, and it's fouled off. Now, sometimes the park will get in your head. Jason Bay talked about it. So did Ryan Ludwig. You know, when you're in a park, Bay moved to New York, struggled with the big expanses of Citi Field when he first went there. Ludwig had trouble in San Diego. Bob Guerin was saying today, you know, we come to one of the most hitting friendly parks in all of baseball, and what do we do for 2 days? We lay a big egg. He said people will blame us, but it's your pitching. It's the Reds pitching, and it sure has been great the last 2 days. Boy, nice job by Frazier to pick that out of the dirt.
It just seems like every team that comes in here, they see the Reds play. I'm not talking about the teams in the division that have seen the Reds a couple of times, but new teams that haven't seen them very much this year, like the Mets. They come in and after a couple of days say, man, you guys are really good. And they've played everybody else. So they're using their comparison and looking at the Reds saying, well, this is one of the best teams we've played all year long.
Full count 3-2. You expect Harrison to be off and running here. He's going. Missing ball 4. So a base hit and a walk, and the first 2 are on here in the second for Jason Bay. And when you look at the Mets season, there have been a lot of high points and there have been some low points. And you go into the Mets clubhouse, there's no one that they root for more in the clubhouse than number 44 is stepping into the batter's box. Great young man, a solid performer and a solid teammate, but boy, has he struggled since going to New York. He's had 2 concussions and a series of injuries. And when you add the numbers all up, his average shows you exactly where he has been. 150, 5 homers, 11 knocked in for a guy who signed a big contract. And he has 1 more year left on it. He's hopeful of just getting healthy. We've seen it with Justin Morneau and Joe Mauer, how the concussions have taken away from their abilities, and it takes you a while to get back from it. And he's hoping that he'll get over that hump and get there.
I'll tell you, just had a pitch right down Broadway at 92 that he just was late on. So he's obviously feeling for it out there.
Look at his
see the reaction after that. I mean, that's the kind of pitch you go home at night as a hitter and you dream about getting, and you dream about crushing at 450 feet.
No balls, 2 strikes. Did he go? 1 and 2.
I mean, he's a strikeout waiting to happen. If not a strikeout, he's a ground ball waiting to happen, and maybe the Reds can turn one behind Homer. The key is just don't leave one right in his wheelhouse, which probably right now is the only place he's going to be able to make good contact.
Bailey to the stretch, checks the runners. Trying to get him to go fishing. He won't bite on it. It's 2-2.
This is where Homer has gotten better this year at slowing the game down, not letting an inning like this get out of hand. And here's a chance right now for him to do it. Bow your neck a little bit, make a good pitch, don't try to overthrow it, hit your spot.
Reds double play depth, middle of the infield. There you got it. Tardy on the fastball, gets him on the breaking ball. 3rd strikeout for Homer, 1 away.
I'm not sure if this is a cutter or a slider. I think it's a cutter, but boy, you can't place it out there any better than that. Jason Bay really is not going to be able to hit that pitch, so there's not a whole lot you can do when you throw it on the knees on the black like that. Boy, you love to see these kind of numbers as the rally gets worse and it's more crucial with 2 outs, runners in scoring position. That batting average down to 180, scoring position in 220. A lot of young pitchers, and of course Homer after 101 starts. I'm not sure how long you're going to call him a young pitcher. He's young, but he's got a lot of major league experience. But you like to see that trend, that's for sure.
And that shows you he's pitching, not just throwing the way it was a couple of years ago. Strike 1 to Kelly Shopik, and his first start as a Met.
You know, if you're Homer Bailey, you got to be thinking, and I think Mike Leake, and I think Bronson Arroyo, and I think Latos and Cueto are already in it, but you're thinking postseason, and you want to be one of the top 3 pitchers on your staff in postseason. And here's the chance between now and the end of the year to establish yourself in the mind of Dusty Baker, Brian Price, Walt Jocketty, and so on as the number 3 man. And that doesn't mean going out there and treading water and going 5 innings, giving up 3 runs and grabbing a win. It means dominating and pitching out of situations like this. And this is the motivation, really, that Homer Bailey has right now.
We talked about the development and the maturation of Johnny Cueto. Matt Latos this year has gone great strides. Mike Leake knows who he is and what he is, but I think of all the starters, Chris, Homer Bailey's come the furthest from what we saw when he first came up.
Well, he was rushed to the major leagues. There's no question about it. He was here before he should have been here. It seemed like every time they pitched Homer.
Got him.
Nice job there. Every time they pitch Homer early in his career, you know, they made a circus out of it. They'd bring him up for one start. They put his face on a billboard and say, hey, Friday Homer's pitching, Homer's coming up. And I mean, it was more of a circus atmosphere. And I don't know whether they did it to sell tickets or they just didn't have a clue on how to bring a pitcher up back in those days. But I think they set him back because of that, and he's now beginning to catch up.
Here's Harvey, who's no slouch at the plate, by the way. He's a good swinger of the bat, so you can't just give him a get-ahead fastball down the middle. 2 for 6, 333. Both those hits came in his first start. Fouled off for strike 1. From the stretch again. Homer delivers. Did he go? Yes, he did. 0-2. Boy, a base hit and a walk, and then Homer, as you said, Chris, really bulled his neck, and so far 2 straight strikeouts, trying to get out of this jam here. .6'4", 225. Harvey digs in. Rhythmic chant from the crowd here at Great American Ballpark, trying to close out this inning. Got him. 3 straight strikeouts, 5 through 2 for number 34. Ludwig, Bruce Frazier due up. Later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Here's that sound that Chris loves to hear. Hey, Reds fans, if a Reds home run hits the Toyota sign during today's game, Julie Beck from Cincinnati, a proud owner of a 2008 Highlander, will win this beautiful new Tundra on display at Great American Ballpark. Register for your chance to win at an upcoming game by seeing your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. Great job by Bailey to get out of second inning trouble. To the bottom of 2 we go. Ryan Ludwig, Jay Bruce, and Todd Frazier due up for the Reds as we go to the second. Pleasant night right now. That's the good news. The bad news is there's some rain coming in. Doug Gallant, the head of the grounds crew, went into the umpire's room right before the game telling Jim Joyce that In all probability, we're shooting and looking at around 9 o'clock when the rain will move in, and it looks pretty good once it comes in.
All right, well,
pitch fast.
Get a lead, pitch fast, and then let Mother Nature take its course.
92-mile-an-hour fastball wide for ball one to Ludwig, who's at 268, 21 homers and 64 knocked in. Right field, curve in towards the line. It will go foul. Almost snuck in a two-bagger there against Harvey. Harvey's first game was spectacular when he came up with the Mets. With Rob Johnson behind the plate, they sat down and said, we're just going to go out and do what we've done through the minor leagues. First batter he faced, he threw all 4 of his pitches. Now, you've talked about his fastball, Chris, which is lively. His changeup probably his worst pitch, but he breezed through 5 innings. He was outstanding. Struck out 11. One of a handful of pitchers to strike out that many in their opening game.
Well, he did, and that was the good part of it. The bad part of it, that's all he went, was 5 1/3 of 106 pitches. So that tells me that, and even in his minor leagues, if you look at the numbers closely in the minor league starts that he's had and talk to people that have seen him pitch, he throws a lot of pitches, and you can work him. And the sooner you get into the Mets bullpen, the better off you will be.
3 hopper to short. Tejada. Ludwig retired. So far, 1 fly ball, 3 ground ball outs. Here's Jay Bruce. Last 3 games, count them, Chris. A trifecta for Jay Bruce.
How about off the lefty in Chicago? He goes into the first or second row right there. That was after sitting out a couple of ball games. He gets a hard throwing lefty here the other way. Couple of men on. The Reds needed a run. There's 3 of them right there on a walk-off home run. And last night that was a no-doubter. About halfway up the moon deck, that high line, that high home run went. And Jay Bruce, well, when he swings them and makes contact, he's making them count, isn't he? Not wasting it on opposite field singles.
Those 3 home runs produced 6 runs batted in the last 3 games. Prior to that, the last 20 games, he had 3 homers and 10 RBI. We've seen it over the course of his career. He can be red hot and ice cold at times. And his goal, and Brooke Jacoby, Dusty Baker's goal, to try to minimize those slumps and keep the hot streaks.
Pretty good sequence right there. Last 2 pitches for Matt Harvey. One was a 96-mile-an-hour fastball called for strike 2, and then a changeup that Bruce barely got a little bat on to stay alive. I'm not sure what that was, but it's nasty. That ball went straight down. That's a breaking ball right there. He throws a slider and a curve. That's his curveball. Not easy the first time you face a pitcher, especially a pitcher with a talented arm like Matt Harvey. I mean, he dials it up to 96. All of a sudden he throws a breaking ball that you didn't even know he had. And you're going to be up there hacking.
There's Todd Frazier, 286, 15 homers, 49 knocked in. Number 15, a big-time shot yesterday, 474 feet to center field. After the game, he said, I know I hit it well, but I didn't know how well I hit it. Man, he hit it a ton.
Looking dead red right here.
He missed it. Here's another look at it, Chris.
Boy, this was pitch. Look where the pitch is. I mean, it's on its way down to knee high. It goes so high off the boat in center field, we didn't even get the impact of it, but they measured it at 474.
That home run stretched his hitting streak to 6 straight, and during that time he's hit over 500. But more importantly, he helped the Reds bridge the gap without Joey Votto in the lineup. Reds, of course, still hoping to get their MVP candidate back, but they're resigned to the fact, and so is Joey, that he's coming back when he's healthy. He's not going to rush back. And it sure takes some pressure off when you get a guy playing well. Some high heat, 2 straight strikeouts. That's 2 on the night for Harvey. 1, 2, 3, go the Reds. Top of the order, Tejada.
The second, he had a couple of runners on. Pitch by pitch, he gets a little cutter right there for a strikeout. Then he goes with his curveball on the next pitch. That gets Shopik way out in front. And how about a little slider action? Cutter, curveball, slider. Strike 1, strike 2, strike 3. 3 in a row for Homer Bailey. Got out of the second inning, and he's got all the pitches working, as we just saw on our Mazda pitch by pitch.
Very well done, senor. Here's Ruben. Tejada, Baxter, and Wright due up as we go to the third. At the knees for a strike. Tejada popped out in foul territory to Frazier first time up. Well, the Reds gearing towards holding on to first place in the postseason. The Mets, Shopik wants it up. I mean, Mesoraco wants it up, and Ludwig will come in and haul it in for the first out. Mets, on the other hand, are starting to look at what they need for 2013, and Tejada certainly has solidified his spot as their shortstop. Terry Collins. Now, if you were to have a manager of the year for the first half, it would probably be Terry Collins. He did a tremendous job keeping this club in the race. As of the first week of July, they were very much a postseason contender, but then the injuries hit. They knew coming in they couldn't sustain injuries, especially to their pitching staff, and they had very little down below to help. But all of that has caught up to them. And Chris, we've watched Terry, we watched him in Houston and Anaheim, and you talk about people that have matured as a manager. He's always been a great baseball guy, and he has done a tremendous job keeping the spirits up in a Mets team that's had a rough second half.
Well, you talk to everybody associated with this ball club, whether it's a player, a broadcaster, writers that travel with the team, they'll say the same thing you just did, that he's really helped this ball club a lot. Now, considering the record, they've had injuries, they can't find offense, but what they do have going into next year is they've got their pitching pretty much figured out, they think.
Yep, they went around. That's a strikeout number 6 for Homer.
I mean, you got R.A. Dickey, who'll probably anchor the top of the pitching staff, having a great year this year. Johan Santana, comeback year. Jonathan Nee still in Gee. Got to figure both those guys are going to be in the mix. If Gee comes back healthy next year, he'll be ready to go. Matt Harvey, in his 4 outings so far, shown to be very good. And they've got a very good-looking prospect in Zach Wheeler, player that they got in exchange for Carlos Beltran, that is in AAA now. They just got moved up to AAA recently, and they figure that he'll be vying for a spot in the rotation in spring training.
Here's David, who singled to right first time up on a 3-2 pitch. Down to short. The vacuum cleaner Kozart takes care of it. 1, 2, 3 for Homer. That's the kind of inning you want. Reds back to work. 7, 8, and 9 due up. Leading up to his ceremonial weekend when the Reds will honor Barry for being inducted into the Hall of Fame and retire his number. Our first moment takes us back to his first full big league season, 87. Made his presence known early, hit nearly 300, 49 extra base hits, 40 stolen bases. You remember him as wearing number 11. In those days, he wore number 15. And he always tells the great story that he didn't have anything in his bag. His bag never made it to the ballpark. When he got to town, Pete Rose said, "You better get something." So he got shoes from Eric Davis, a glove from this one, somebody else from something else, and the end result was he had a uniform and he went out on the field and all the way to the Hall of Fame. Number 11, his number will be retired. Barry Larkin weekend coming up, Chris, and we were fortunate to be a part of that for so many years, to watch not only a Hall of Famer on the field, but a Hall of Famer off the field.
Well, George, they say he wowed them in Cooperstown during the induction. I can't wait to see Barry again. Played with him back in 1986, his rookie year. Played a little bit in the minor leagues before he was called up. And class guy all the way. Happy for Barry. It'll be a fun weekend.
There's ever been a great first family of baseball in Cincinnati, the Larkin family's right on that list. Man, mom and dad, tremendous. Brothers, and of course Lisa, his wife, and the kids. It's just so great to be around them anytime, and that'll be a tremendous weekend. Here's Scott Rowland, 245, 6 homers, 28 knocked in. I guess he came back in the lineup the right way yesterday. Double his first time up and then a homer. That homer gave the Reds the 2-1 lead that they never relinquished in the game. I asked Joe Morgan, you know, there's an informal dinner on Friday, then Saturday night there's festivities, and Sunday the ceremonies, and Sunday night just the Hall of Famers have a dinner. And traditionally it's gotten rowdy at times where they've really roasted whoever gets into the Hall of Fame. There's a pop-up to the right side. Will Davis get there? At the railing, he'll haul it in. Rowland retired. And Joe said, you know, they really took it easy on Barry. You know, he's a tough guy to what do you find bad about him, you know? And he said the Hall of Famers who can usually grill you pretty good took it pretty easy on Barry that Sunday night.
Well, he's also a Hall of Famer from the new generation.
Yep.
So many of those Hall of Famers, George, you know, didn't play in the 80s or the 90s. and they were inducted around those times. So what they saw of Barry Larkin was never while they were wearing a uniform. It was while they were watching him on TV or maybe watching him live at the ballpark. So he's kind of one of the first new Hall of Famers from a new generation.
There's Devin Mesoraco in at 213, 5 homers, 14 knocked in. You mentioned the pitching projections for the Mets for next year. You mentioned Wheeler, who will probably be up next year. The Mets said all year long they had no plans to bring Matt Harvey up this year, but with all the injuries that have hit, they backtracked on that in July. Because you remember Don Gullett and Jack McKeon always saying, give us a young pitcher, let him get his feet wet up here, he'll grow up faster.
Yeah, you know what, if you've got a guy, especially out of college, why not do that? He went to a big time college program, University of North Carolina. He reached Double-A in his first professional season, which was last year. Signed in 2010 or drafted in 2010. This year he started the season in Triple-A. So I mean, you're pitching against big leaguers or former big leaguers when you're pitching in Triple-A. And for Harvey, it's all about being able to, develop his secondary pitches. And if you get a guy like that who starts to dominate down in Triple-A, sometimes you get mentally bored and you don't really push it the way you should and the way you have to at the big league level. So, what do the Mets have to lose? 17.5 games out.
Pop straight up. Shopik casts away the mask and hauls it in, 2 away. Well, so far 8 up, 8 down. Here comes Homer.
Tell you one thing, the fans in New York would rather, if your team is where the Mets are right now, so far back in the standings that they barely can see Washington and Atlanta, that you might as well want to take a look at what you've got in the future. Why run some 4A player out there or some retread guy that you got into trade just to get you through the end of the year? Let's see what we got for next year and get a little fired up about it if he's good. And Matt Harvey has got the kind of arm that will get you fired up.
Strike 1 to Homer. On the year, Homer in at 143 with 7 hits on the season. Breaking ball gets him. Chalk it up. 3 strikes and 3 strikeouts for Matt Harvey. We're still scoreless going to the 4th. And with Reds Live presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing on Fox Sports Ohio. Jim Day, Jeff Pecora will keep you up to date on the Reds, give you everything you need to know first. First to get the starting lineup, first to talk to the players prior to pitch number one, and hear from Dusty about what he's planning to do on any given ball game day. Only your exclusive home for the Reds will bring it to you. For Cincinnati Reds baseball, it's Reds Live, sponsored by Ray St. Clair Roofing. Hey, don't miss the Reds and Cardinals August the 24th through the 26th here at Great American. Presented by Kroger. Friday and Saturday, all fans in attendance going to receive a Barry Larkin commemorative print. Thanks to Cincinnati Bell and the Inquirer. Don't miss a Barry Blast post-game fireworks show Friday night. Special pregame Barry Larkin jersey retirement on Saturday. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or Reds.com. That'll be a big night to celebrate here at Great American Ballpark as we honor Barry Larkin and we see his number retired. Here's Ike Davis to lead it off. In the top of the fourth, Davis struck out first time up. Davis, Scott Hairston, and Justin Turner due up. Davis has had a struggling kind of season. His average down in the 100s for most of the first part of the year. And in fact, he's still hitting under 100 at home. He's bounced back somewhat, and while you look at the overall number of 213, when you consider he was about 160, it's been a long road back for him after, whether it was pneumonia or valley fever or whatever, knocked the strength right out of him, and he probably won't be 100% till next year.
Well, plus he missed 5 months last year and got a whole bunch
shot
of
to right. That's long gone. Home run number 21. That's the good news. Davis has gotten the home run swing back. That's his 21st, and Homer trails 1-0.
Well, Homer blew him away with a fastball up, just about letter high in the first inning for his second strikeout of the game. But if you got a hitter that drops his hands the way that Ike Davis does, he's looking for something downstairs. And man, that is the wheelhouse of a left-handed hitter right there. A little bit low, a little bit in, drop the bat head and watch it go.
So the Reds trail for the first time in this series, 1-0. That'll bring up Harrison, who singled first time up. How good has he been? We told you how bad he's been at home at 166. Most road home runs. 16 of his 21 have been on the road.
Well, he's playing just about everywhere he goes is a smaller ballpark than Citi Field, even with the fences brought in.
Reason why Chase Headley's on that list too, huh? From San Diego.
Well, that's a real reason there.
Teammate of Mike Leake, and before the game today he was saying, you know, I didn't want to lose last night, but I was sure proud of Mike. Well, Leake pitched brilliantly last night, didn't he, Chris?
He did. He needed it. He needed to pitch well at home to get his confidence back. Loved the standing ovation they gave him when he came up to the plate, I think, in the 8th inning.
If you missed it last night, here it was when he came to the plate after he'd pitched 8 brilliant innings. Josh Tolley looked at him as if to say, you're going to step out?
I mean, he had to be simply blown away.
He was.
By that. I mean, that was kind of unexpected. You don't see that very often. I mean, you see it for Cueto. You used to see it for Jose Rijo, Browning, you know, but that came out of nowhere. That's how fired up this fan base is right now. And they are fired up, and they should be.
He stepped out after the game, and I asked him, I said, did you hear it? Did you notice it? He said, how couldn't I? He said, I didn't know what was happening at first. He said it really meant a lot. And what he said, Chris, you mentioned the fan base. He said fans don't understand how much that means, not just to me, but to the team. When we get that kind of support, it's like an adrenaline rush. That's the first time he's ever experienced that at the major league level. He said, boy, he enjoyed every moment of it. 3-2. High in the air to the right side. In the twilight, Bruce peers up, pulls it in, 1 away. You hit the nail on the head when you said confidence. I asked Brian Price after the game last night. I said, how do you grade his effort? He said, well, he's just really figuring out now how good he can be. And when he pitches with confidence, the results will show. And he sure pitched with confidence last night.
Oh, you have to. I mean, if you don't pitch with confidence, it means you're going to nibble around the plate. You're going to miss off the plate, get into hitters' counts. In this ballpark, you're not going to last very long. I think the other thing that has helped Mike Leake, and I think it's also helped Homer Bailey, is that you've got 3 other pitchers in this rotation that have had pretty good years. Johnny Cueto, a Cy Young type year. Aside from the month of April, Matt Latos, a Cy Young type year. So now you've got the internal pressure of staying with the other guys, or else they're going to leave you behind, and no one wants to be the weak link in a starting rotation. So that's the best kind of motivation you can have, is from that internal motivation, where you want to be as good as your teammate.
Reds pitching coach Brian Price done a great job with this crew this year. And we've talked about it a number of times. It's not just one person. I mean, what the Reds have put together with Brian Price, the pitching coach, Mac Jenkins, the assistant pitching coach, Borky Lopez, Mike Stefanski out in the bullpen. The work that they've combined with. Bounce it down to third. Roland has it. 2 away. When you combine the video use they have, the statistical analysis, the scouting reports of Sean Pender, I mean, in the 20 years I've been here, this is the best that the Reds have ever had in terms of an intelligent approach to the whole package.
Well, they've got guys that can, like I said last night, they got guys that can execute the plan. I mean, you can have the best plan in the world, but if you don't have a driver that can get you down that road, then you're not going to go anywhere. And I think that means running pitchers out there every night that give you a chance to win. And I think you're right. I mean, when you're talking about scouting report, it may only mean, 1 or 2 batters a night that you get an edge on because you know something about pitching to him. Mac Jenkins has done a great job breaking down video of other hitters and finding out what other pitchers are getting guys out with, how they're making an adjustment, how to look at that hitter and see if he's made the adjustment or not. So little things like that have helped the Reds immensely, but only a little bit at a time. You've got to have the guys that can go out and get it done. And this year you're seeing that happen.
Down low, 2 balls and a strike. And the guy you just saw sitting in the dugout too has been a big factor in that. I think he should have been the manager of the year in 2010. He just missed by a vote, losing to Bud Black. Bounce past the pitcher, the long throw. It will hop into the dugout. It'll be an error on Phillips. He's trying to make another miraculous play. Frazier couldn't get to it, so it'll go as a base hit and an error, allowing him to go to second.
Well, he doesn't have much of a chance. He's going to give it a shot anyway. And even if that throws on the money, the chances are you're not going to get Jason Bay. Doesn't run all that well, but that just took too long to get there. And I think what Brandon's upset about, and he is upset that he threw that ball over the head of Todd Frazier. You know what? The majority of second basemen, in fact, I'm not sure how many other second basemen even get to that ball to give them a chance to get an error. Most every other second baseman in baseball watches that ball go into center field or grabs it and puts it in his pocket.
Shopik up, and they will walk him intentionally to put runners at first and second with 2 away. So the third error for Brandon on the season allows the runner to go to second. The intentional walk puts runners at first and second, and here comes Harvey, who struck out first time up. Off the end of the bat, heading towards the alley, long run. It will drop on the warning track and plate 2. We told you about Harvey and his abilities. Well, he makes him pay right here. The intentional walk puts Harvey to the plate, and big number 33 gets his third hit of the season. A double that plates 2.
Yeah, this is more of a mental error than anything else for Homer Bailey. I mean, you just walked a number 8 hitter. You have to get this guy out, period. He's the opposing pitcher. He's a rookie. He's only pitched 4 games in the major leagues. I don't care if he's a good young hitting pitcher or not. He's got to be an out when you look at that lineup, especially with runners on base, when you walk intentionally the runner ahead of him. You can't throw the first pitch a cookie right down Broadway and expect him not to put the wood on it. So it hurts, especially with the way the Harvey's dealing the ball against the Reds right now.
Homer by Davis and a 2-run double from Harvey. 3-0 Mets. Tejada waves at it. No balls, 2 strikes. That's in the dirt. It'll kick away from Mesoraco, and the runner will go to third. Wild pitch.
Well, better to bounce in the dirt than hang it right down the middle.
Harvey to third. Here's the 1-2 to Tejada. Hey, Reds fans, August National Sandwich Month is celebrated with JTM's quick and delicious meatball sub kits. Pick up a bag today. That's JTM.
Take it.
Ike Davis started it with the homer. Harvey's added 2, and the Mets lead at 3-0. Working from the full windup now with Harvey at third. By the way, already completed today. The Pirates held on to beat the Dodgers 10-6. Burnett wins his 15th. He's 15-4, 6 2/3, 7 hits, 6 earned runs though. Garrett Jones had a couple of homers and 6 knocked in. Both Kemp and Mattingly were ejected in that one. This one looped into center, but Stubbs will be there. Damage done though. Big swing from Mike Degas. A double from Harvey. 3-0 Mets lead. brought to you by JTM Food Group, creating great dishes together with the food service industry for over 30 years. By your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers for over 30 Toyota offers available right now. Visit buyatoyota.com, including mobile. And by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. Hey, don't forget, mark your calendar for the next Paycor Business Day special. That's Wednesday, September the 5th at Great American Ballpark. Take a break from work, cheer on your Reds, and they battle the Phillies. Purchase a $15 view level ticket, receive $10 in concession credits. For tickets to see your Reds take on the Phillies September 5th, call 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com/skipwork. Some restrictions do apply. That's a heck of a deal. $15 view level ticket, $5 in concession credits. Boy, Jesse could go through those concession credits fast, Chris.
Yes, he could.
By the way, happy birthday to you.
And happy birthday to your daughter, Jamie.
And happy birthday to Jesse. My daughter, Jamie, celebrates today, as does the inimitable Jesse Jackson.
As does Ryan Hannigan.
Amen. Jesse, you're finally 39.
Going to celebrate by taking a nice present out of that trunk of his.
Liner one hop, smothered by Turner. And Cozart is retired. Here comes Drew Stubbs, who bounced out first time up. Cozart is now 0 for 2. Celebrated a lot of birthdays together with Jesse, haven't we?
39 of them.
August the 16th.
That's a very important day. And for some people, the day that important people pass away, like Babe Ruth passed away on August the 16th. Elvis.
Thank you very much. Looped into right. Turner will take care of the first 2 outs of the inning. So Harvey's cruising so far. 11 up, 11 down, and Brandon Phillips will come to the plate.
And while we're on it, George, want to pass our condolences along to the family of Hilda Rowland. Passed away back in late July. 101 years old. Hilda never missed a Reds game for years and years and years. One of your biggest fans personally, and we wish her family the best, and we'll miss Hilda.
We said happy birthday to her a few times.
Yes, we did.
Some great Reds fans. And by the way, another great Reds fan who usually comes down to visit us, brings us some cookies, won't be in this week. She's a little under the weather. We hope to see her again soon. Betty Trimpe.
We're going to miss those cookies. I was looking forward to that.
Yeah, we thought Jesse'd get them for his birthday today. Betty bring them in, and they get to the back door, and we never do see them. Hope you're feeling well, Betty. We love you. Brandon bounced to second first time up. No balls, 2 strikes. Harvey's been dealing so far. And he gets Phillips. 4 strikeouts for Matt Harvey. The big guy has retired the Reds through 4. of all the action with the Take the Central ticket deal starting as low as $25. You can see your Reds take on the Cubs this weekend or the Cardinals August 24th through the 26th and bundle it with a Pirates game on September. That's 2 great games for as low as $25. Visit Reds.com/Central for details. They come from Chicago this weekend. The series, of course, scheduled to be a 3-game series, but with the rain out last time they were in, is a doubleheader, day-night doubleheader on Saturday. On Friday, it's Bronson Arroyo against Travis Wood, the former Red. Saturday, Johnny Cueto probably in Game 1 against Jeff Samardzija. Samardzija's been pitching well. Second game to follow. And then Matt Latos against Chris Volstad on Sunday. Center field straightaway, Stubbs there. Mike Baxter retired for the first out of the 5th. Quick inning, that's what Homer needs right here, huh?
Well, he had a very quick inning in the 3rd, was unable to duplicate that in the 4th when he gave up a leadoff home run and, you know, a little single at the end of the inning and then walked intentionally the number 8 hitter. And then I'm sure he's just kicking himself out there right now for giving up a pitch to the opposing pitcher after walking the guy in front of him. I mean, you throw a cookie right down Broadway and you get burned on it. Right now he's looking at a 3-zip deficit, and that really is the biggest pitch in this ball game so far for Homer Bailey. Other than that, he's thrown the ball exceptionally well.
There's David Wright, singled and bounced out, 1 for 2. Breaking ball drops in there for a strike.
That's nice because they've handled him with fastballs for the most part, keeping the fastball down and away. Start him off with a breaking ball, then you put a whole different idea in his head.
And there you go. 0-2.
Well, we've seen him, and he came into this series lifetime against the Reds over 350, 10 home runs, plenty of runs batted in. We've seen him on fire to the point where you don't even want to pitch to him. He's not there right now, obviously, swinging through a lot of pitches that he normally crushes.
When the Mets swept the Reds in that 4-game series last year, he was a one-man wrecking crew.
Didn't really matter where you threw him either.
No. One ball, 2 strikes. Frazier flags it down. Bailey there. They get him by a step. Nice play.
That's a real nice play right there because you got a first baseman kind of going away from the bag. He has to throw it on the run, and Homer Bailey gets off the mound quick in order to get there, make it as easy as he can on Todd Frazier. It's a good job. The key right here, get the ball to the pitcher before he gets to the bag. That way he can field the ball first and then look down and watch his foot hit the bag. If the ball and the foot on the bag get there at the same time, that's when you got problems.
Pitchers have a lot of nightmares, and that's one of them, covering first, right?
Especially with a big hard-nosed player like David Wright coming down the line.
Not kidding. That's where he wanted the pitch. Up and in against Davis. Last time down and in, and Davis drilled it to right for a homer. 421 feet worth of homer to right.
You know, I played with Ike Davis's dad, Ron. Great guy. Ike Davis is a great guy. I'm still not convinced, though. I know he's got tons of power. Watch him in batting practice every day here. I'm still not convinced that this style of hitting is ever going to lend himself to be a consistent hitter at the big league level. He's going to run into a number of pitches and hit home runs, but I mean, unless you hit 40 home runs, you're going to hit down around 220 or 230. And I know he dug himself a big hole early on. But it leaves you, in my opinion anyway, it leaves you too many holes in your zone.
It's been an internal debate inside the Mets organization how much to tinker with his mechanics. He's back to the way he was, and it's been better in the second half.
A little over 250.
Yeah. I mean, 250 and 30 home runs, would you take that?
No.
As your first baseman?
No.
Probably not. No. In this day and age, you need more than that.
Not. Now, if he takes 100 walks on top of that, then yes. But he's not going to do that.
3-1. The one thing we do know, he's a better hitter than Ron was.
Yeah.
What a great guy his dad was, though.
Yeah,
huh?
he was. RD.
So walk to Ike Davis. Oh, a 2-out free pass, and here comes Scott Hairston. Hairston singled and flied out. You're going to tell old Yankee stories about Ron Davis now?
He had 1 year up there. I have to look up his record. But he got more vulture wins than anybody I think I've ever seen. He'd come in, middle of the ball game, blow a lead. The Yankees would score. Then they bring Goose in to close out the game. I think he won something like 12 or 13 games that way in a short period of time. He'd come down around from around Laredo, about 94. He would intimidate some right-handers now. Whew.
Strike one, and on the hands, foul back 0-2. By the way, the word we got, if you joined us last night and you heard about the injury to Neil Walker of the Pirates, at first they thought it was a wrist. Turned out to be a dislocated pinky finger on his right hand. They don't think it's that serious, so that he might miss a few days and be back. That's good news for the Pirates. I mean,
it is, especially
irrespective of the pennant race and everything else. He's a pretty young man.
You never want to see good players hurt, anybody hurt, but especially players that you pay to come out and see.
Hit hard. Tricky hop. Cozart takes care of it, though, and walk no harm in the 5th. Hey, the Reds need some runs. Ludwig to lead it off. They trail 3-0.
Here on Fox Sports Ohio. Jim Day with you, and it was my pleasure recently to kick off the Fan Express initiative. Being a part of it that day was a cool kickoff, and I tell you what, the Fan Express is going strong. Fox Sports Ohio would like to welcome Reds fans from the After School All-Stars, which provides after-school programs that keep children safe in the Columbus area while giving them a chance to succeed in school and in life. They arrived at tonight's game via the Fan Express. For more information how you and your group can get on the Fox Sports Ohio Fan Express to Reds Country, call 513-765-7600 or visit reds.com/Fan Express. These kids, I imagine, having a good time, and kudos to the After School All-Stars Ohio organization as Ryan Ludwig gets beamed and beamed hard. And let's send it back to George Grand.
Thanks, JD. By the way, you weren't driving that bus today, were you?
I was not driving that bus today, but I tell you what, the kids that are aboard that, it's very good to have mentors in life, as you know.
You're right.
The After-School All-Stars program provides a safe haven for kids during the danger zone hours of 3 to 6 p.m. when violence, drug use, and other delinquent behavior is likely to occur. And they also fight against high school dropout rates and obesity, so they do a terrific job with the kids, and I'm sure they're having a wonderful time here at GABP.
You did a great job kicking it off. Thanks, buddy.
You got it.
Reds get a base runner finally, and here's Jay. Bruce struck out first time up. Here's another look as he gets drilled right on the left bicep.
He gets up looking very angry, and that's the immediate reaction that you have when you get drilled by a pitch. That was not a fastball. That was an 88-mile-an-hour changeup that I think, or a breaking ball that backed up on Matt Harvey, so I don't think there's any intent right there. I mean, if you want to hit a guy, you certainly don't do it with an off-speed pitch. Not when you can throw 97, and that's the top end of Harvey this evening.
You don't do it when you have a 3-0 lead and you got a perfect game into the 5th inning either. Although we did see that happen once in Montreal, didn't we?
Yeah.
Reggie Sanders charged
Pedro.
That was a memorable night. Jay struck out first time up, trying to get the Reds offense cranked up here in the 5th. 2 balls, 1 strike. Three home runs the last 3 games for the Reds right fielder, now at 124 for his career. No other player under 26 has more in Major League Baseball. Does he hold on it? Yes, he does. Says James Hoy, the umpire, down at 3rd. Todd Frazier on deck for the Reds.
Boy, get a good pitch right here.
Full count, 3-2. Hit him with a fastball. On away, here comes Frazier, and here comes our AT&T trivia question of the night. Who's the only Mets pitcher to win the Gold Glove Award? The only New York Mets pitcher to win the Gold Glove Award. Of course, the Reds have their own Gold Glove pitcher that's won an award. That's Bronson Arroyo. Mets pitcher to win a Gold Glove Award.
Appropriate because he's here in Cincinnati this week.
Yes, sirree. Was a good football player, a good outfielder, and a pretty darn good pitcher, too.
Good student.
Yeah.
Compared to us, anyway.
That's not hard to do, buddy. That's setting the bar pretty low. Here's Todd, who struck out first time up. I remember the time we had Jim Bunning here visiting us, and he was talking about your education at St. X and his education.
Well, he did something with his education.
You're not kidding. A representative, a senator, and the proud grandfather of 39.
Wow.
Unbelievable. Great family. One ball, 2 strikes. Frazier digging in against Harvey. Reds trying to get something going. Trailing for the first time in this series. They trailed 3-0 here in the 5th. Count evens at 2-2. He just does hang in. Fooled on the pitch, but he got something on it.
You know, that last swing by Frazier, that looks awfully ugly, but it just buys him another chance. Spoil the good ones. Wait for him to make a mistake.
Boy, he's dialing it up tonight at 94. Back-to-back strikeouts when he needed it. 6 strikeouts for Harvey.
I'm not so sure that the radar gun really tells the whole story. That he is kind of a quick arm. He gets his arm up behind his ears very quickly, and that ball just gets right on the hitter. Last 2 strikeouts he has had in this inning, both on fastballs, and against 2 pretty good fastball hitters in Jay Bruce and Todd Frazier.
Here's Scott Rowland, popped out first time up. Dribbler, it will be knocked down, but no throw made, and an infield hit for the Reds, their first base hit. Well, in a year when we've had 3 perfect games and 6 no-hitters, any night's a possibility, and the Reds finally get a hit here in the 5th. There's Devin Mesoraco. Alfredo Simon has gotten up and started to loosen in the bullpen now. And Xavier Paul has gone to the bat rack. Dusty Sensen, he's got a strike while he's got the opportunity. If Mesoraco can keep the inning alive, it appears Bailey's night is done. We talked about it early, Chris. You look at the numbers for Matt Harvey so far. I mean, he's been very impressive, but in short stints, his major league appearances 5 1/3, 6, 5, and 6 innings pitched.
Well, mainly because of pitch counts. And here he is in the 5th inning with about half as many pitches as he had in his major league debut. So he's throwing more strikes. The Reds are being more aggressive on balls in the zone. There's not a lot to dislike about Matt Harvey. If you're a Mets fan, you've got to be pretty juiced up about having a good arm like this, you know, coming up through your system. Sitting at dinner before the ball game, George, like we do a lot of times, sitting with a lot of scouts, and asked these guys if anybody had seen him. One of them had seen him in the minor leagues. They told me that he would have a really rock solid delivery. You see right there, great direction. I mean, he is stepping and driving right towards that target. Good look at his delivery, but brought to you by Performance Honda.
2 balls, 1 strike. Foul back. Well, that delivery has been refined big time. I mean, the only time I saw him was at North Carolina, and it was a herky-jerky motion. His control was a real problem. But it's much more condensed as you see him here tonight.
Well, that happens when you go from college to the minor leagues, and now you all of a sudden get consistent pitching throughout a whole summer. And all that excess that you had maybe when you were in high school and college begins to go away, because you realize that excess motion in your delivery doesn't mean anything.
Dribble down to short. Tejada, quick flip across the infield, and Mesoraco is retired. So the Reds get a hit batter and a walk, but nothing to show for it in the 5th. They still trail 3-0. Freaky Friday on Fountain Square starting at noon. Then you can catch up with her at Free Agent Friday in the Fan Zone starting at 5:30 tomorrow afternoon. Christine will be here all day tomorrow. Mets will leave town, head to Washington for their series. Reds stay here as the Cubs come to town. So Homer will get another shot at it. The Reds couldn't keep the inning alive, so Bailey back in. He'll go to work here in the 6th. Homer has allowed 5 hits and 3 runs. The damage came last inning. A leadoff homer by Ike Davis. The inning before last, a leadoff homer by Ike Davis. An error, an intentional walk, and a double by the pitcher Matt Harvey. The 3 runs that are on the board for the Mets. Great to have you with us. George Grand, Chris Welsh, our entire crew here at Great American Ballpark. Thanks for joining us all season long. What has been so far a very special season for the Reds and Reds fans. Here's a former Red, Justin Turner. Once a Red, always a Red. Turner, first day of the series, he came out, had a chance to talk to him a little while, and he said, there's a liner into center. Here comes Stubbs. He's got it. He said, how's Freddie Benavidez doing? How's Mac Jenkins doing? Freddie, of course, infield coordinator for the Reds when he was an infielder coming up, and Mac, of course, the pitching coordinator. Great deal of respect for them by all the minor leaguers. Turner was one of them.
That said, he's probably glad he's not in the Reds organization right now.
Not with Brandon at second base.
Yeah.
And you don't know. I mean, right now they've really done a lot to give Daniel Murphy a shot at second base. This one hit pretty good to right by Bay. Back at the wall, looking back, and Jason Bay has homered. A long drought ends for Jason Bay, his 6th home run of the season. Chris, you remember when Bay was a pain in the neck for the Reds when he was in Pittsburgh. Well, that's his 1st home run in a month.
But he just hits this ball a long way. I mean, up and away, takes it the other way. A couple of hits and a strikeout looking for Jason Bay. He's got to feel very happy about that. I'll tell you, we saw him in New York, George, and it was one of the first plays of the ball game.
Yep.
He went crashing into the wall in left field, and they had to take him out of the ball game. He went head first into the wall, wrenched his neck, hit his head, came walking off the field like he was like a boxer that was just staggered. So actually nice to see him back off the disabled list, back playing and not doing damage to the Reds, but glad he's healthy.
2nd concussion in 2 years. Dribbler, rolling charges, can't come up with it, and Shopik will be on.
Well, I didn't really see that, did I?
That'll be an error on Scott Rowland.
Scott Rowland do that? That never happens.
Reaching down the achy breaky back, then get down all the way.
I mean, really, that I don't think I've ever seen him do that. I guess you're allowed 1 per lifetime if you're Scott Rowland.
Harvey showing bunt, gets it down. It's a good one. That'll move the runner into scoring position. So Harvey's had a productive night on the mound and at the plate. A 2-run double, and that sacrifice. And don't forget, after every Reds game, Fox Sports Ohio breaks down the game with interviews from Dusty, the players. Brought to you by King's Honda and the King's Auto Mall. You'll be the first to hear from Dusty. Get an interview on the field with Jim Day and Jeff McCorrell, keeping you up to date on all the post-game activities. Visit KingsHondaUSA.com. Reds Live postgame. And Chris, one of the subplot stories of last night really wasn't unfolded completely until the postgame last night, and we went downstairs, had a chance to talk to the Reds and talk to the Mets, and continued that, talking to that'll kick away from Mesoraco, talking to the umpires today. It was all the brouhaha over the bracelet on R.A. Dickey's left wrist, which he was forced to remove, and you wondered, was it something the Reds were playing a mind game? And you saw Jay Bruce say wasn't me. And when we talked to Chris Spire and Dusty Baker, they said we had no idea what was going on. So it turned out it was Jim Joyce who came over and ordered him. That's drilled to left. Going back is Ludwig. Looking up. It will be off the top of the wall. Rounding third and scoring will be Shopping. So the sacrifice puts the runner in scoring position, and that runner is delivered by Tejada. That makes it 5-0.
He's had some pretty good swings in this series. Young Ruben Tejada. A double right there drives a run and makes it a 5-0 ball game.
Out comes Ryan Price as the activity has begun again in the bullpen.
Well, they figure that there's some rain in the area, George, and it's coming through. There's no doubt about it. And I'm wondering maybe if Dusty Baker's been made aware of what the weather situation is, and they don't necessarily want to go to a pitcher right now. If you can get Homer Bailey through this inning, have a rain delay if there is one, and then come back with somebody else.
O'Brien has delivered his speech. Activity in the bullpen. Simon was up last inning. Hey, don't forget, come for the Reds Day for more fun. Visit Mighty Mike at Newport Aquarium, biggest gator in the country. Make it a weekend getaway and book your stay at CincinnatiUSA.com. Well, the end result of the whole discussion was that the initiative was taken by Jim Joyce, not by anyone else. And when you saw Terry Collins and R.A. Dickey arguing the case, it was to Joyce. The Reds had nothing to do with it. And in talking to Randy Marsh, the umpiring supervisor who was here, he said he looked at all the video of R.A. Dickey starts this year, and he had warned for every start. And he said he would not have done what Jim Joyce ended up doing, which is having him cut it off. That's a liner into right. That's a base hit. Scampering around third will be Tejada. He'll score easily. And it's 6-0.
Well, you know, to continue on the story of the bracelet, because right now the game's not going our way. Don't you show up all the other umpires that umpired games with R.A. Dickey on the mound all year long? They let him do it. I mean, this bracelet, in case you haven't heard or read the story, was given to R.A. Dickey by his daughter before he went to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. She wanted to give it to him because if there was a tough time during the climb, she wanted him to look down at that bracelet and know that she was thinking about him, that his family was with him in this climb that he did over the wintertime. So when he finally had to cut it off, he put it inside the brim of his cap. Didn't make a big deal about it at all today, by the way.
No. He handled it very well, but it was an emotional moment for him.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be it for Homer Bailey. Pitching change takes place. Simon's on his way in. Time for our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. Gold Glove. How about Mike Hampton? Ron Darling.
I didn't know Mike Hampton was in the house, but Ron Darling is. There he is right next door to us. Ron, the TV analyst for the New York Mets broadcast crew.
He was an outfielder at Yale. Was a great quarterback at Yale on the freshman football team as well. And, of course, hooked up with Ron. There's a bouncer down to short. Ronnie hooked up with Frankie Viola in a brilliant no-hit duel when St. John's played Yale. Simon, one pitch gets it done, but the Reds trail 6-0. Back after this. Ball season in the Kroger bleachers at Great American Ballpark. Kroger bleachers, the place to catch all the Reds action, with ticket prices starting as low as $8. And for additional savings, plan a group outing of 25 or more. Enjoy the party with your family and friends in the Kroger bleachers. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or Reds.com today. Reds got some work to do and some hits to catch up on. 6 runs, 8 hits for the Mets. The line for Homer Bailey, 5 2/3, 8 hits, 6 runs, 4 of them earned, 6 strikeouts, 3 walks, 101 pitches. And here's Miguel Cairo, who came in on the double switch. Cairo's at first, Frazier moving to third, and Simon inserted in the third base slot of Scott Rowland. So the number 9 hitter leads it all. David Wright has it, and quickly there's one away. Great to have you with us. As usual, our producer Josh Hall down in the truck. Roy Alfers pushing the buttons for us as our director tonight. And right now doing his patented rain dance as the rain surrounds downtown Cincinnati. But so far it has not started here. Lauren White keeping us up to date graphically, along with Matt Sigafus doing some highlights for us. Dream Weaver, the pre and post game show major domo. Anthony DeMarco, our TD, Jim Crobe on audio. And we got Chris back doing stats tonight. Chris.
Good to have Chris Kalo back up here. Wonder where he went off to.
Always working. Good to have you back with us, Chrissy. Joel has the night off tonight. Great to be back this week with our great crew too up here, our camera crew. Jim Strickler, Mark Porta down there, Johnny Tomer, Tommy Seaver, Amy Bailey, Campy, Dave Campolongo, J.K. Smith, and Justin Rowan all with us tonight. And everybody else down in the truck, thanks for doing a great job again this year. Of course, I get a chance to watch a lot of games sitting home on TV, and you guys continue to do yourself proud night in and night out. It's great watching Reds baseball and the job each one of you comes up with every night.
Well, great to have you back, George, not just for a series, but for a whole week. You'll be working with Cowboy through the Cubs series. When you get back home, boy, those grandbabies will be big, and hope you recognize them. Congratulations on all those grandbabies.
It's been good for Jeff and Jamie. The kids are great. Mets go into the 7th with a 6-0 lead on the Reds. This week on Fox Saturday Baseball, the playoff push goes into full swing. The Pirates and the Redbirds go at it. A couple of division rivals that are still in the hunt. Both teams look to stay in playoff contention. Fox Saturday Baseball telecast presented by Budweiser begins at 3:30 Eastern only on Fox. Of course, this Saturday for us, we got a double dip coming your way, a day-night doubleheader. First game begins with Reds live at 12:30. The second game with Reds live at 6:30. Not a doubleheader, it's a day-night doubleheader. 2 split tickets. Tomorrow, Bronson Arroyo goes against Travis Wood, and then Sunday it's an afternoon game with Reds live at 12:30. Here's Ike Davis, struck out first time up, homered his 21st of the year in the 4th, and walked in the 5th. This game was scoreless until Davis stepped to the plate in the 4th. His homer made it 1-0. Later in the inning against Homer Bailey, Jason Bay reached. Went to second on Brandon Phillips' error. Kelly Shopik was intentionally walked. Then the pitcher, Matt Harvey, doubled to make it 3-0. Harvey's 4th hit in his young major league season. This time Davis disposed of by Simon, and there's one away. The rest of the runs came in the 6th. A homer by Jason Bay is first in a month and 6th of the year. And after an error by Scott Rowland, Ruben Tejada doubled in a run to make it 5-0, and Mike Baxter's base hit made it 6-0, and that's where we are. Here's Scott Hairston. Single, fly it out, bounced into a fielder's choice. Red starters have been so good of late. The deep guys in the bullpen haven't had much to do, Chris, and Simon's at the top of that list.
Well, it's always like that for a long reliever. You really never know when you're going to get in. You might go a week without ever getting in a ball game, maybe even 10 days to 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden you'll be needed 3 days in a row. But Simon, boy, for a guy that kind of fell into the Reds' lap right at the end of spring training, beginning of the season, he's been very impressive. Big hard thrower, throws strikes, even though he doesn't get a lot of consistent work. He seems to have a good touch of that breaking ball, and he's able to keep that, even though he doesn't get a lot of regular work, and some other guys might be rusty.
And you went through that a lot in your career, where, I mean, you were a starter, a
long reliever, mop-up guy.
You name it. How do you keep yourself sharp? Do you throw on the side a lot?
You throw on the side a lot, but, you know, when you're a power pitcher like Simon, you don't want to overdo it to the point where, you know, you don't have good stuff when you come into the ball game. It's a fine line that you tread down there.
Strike one to Justin Turner.
I think the thing that has really helped Alfredo Simon is that if you look at him now, just look at him compared to what he looked like when he came over here from the Baltimore Orioles, he was fat and out of shape. He wasn't ready to pitch, and the Reds have kind of whipped him into shape. Matt Krause, head of the conditioning program for the Reds, did a great job getting him on a program, running, conditioning. Watched him the other day pacing it with Johnny Cueto, who works as hard as anybody, and you know they're doing their liners and their laps out there in the outfield, and I mean they're pushing him, and I think that's made a big difference in how he feels and how he's able to repeat his delivery.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Off the end of the bat, tricky play, throw to second, they get 1, and that's all.
It's a good play by Cairo.
So Turner's on at first, 2 away, and here comes Jason Bay. The Bay homer to right, his first in a month, his second hit of the night, 2 for 3. Struck out first time up, reached on an infield hit in the 4th, and homered in the 6th.
Well, feeling a whole lot better seeing the Reds this time than he did the last time when the Reds visited Citi Field in New York. Talked about it a little while ago about how first play of the game, or one of the first plays of the game, I guess that was off the bat of Jay Bruce going the other way, first inning, right into the left field wall. And I mean, when he walked off the field, he was wobbly legged. He wasn't sure which way he was going. And went on the disabled list. Took a long time to come back. Well, that was a scary, scary moment.
One ball, 2 strikes. Swing and a miss. They get him this time. A stranded runner. The Reds need some runs. They trail 6-0. with you this season. Subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Reds out-of-market game live online and on your favorite devices in HD quality. Visit Reds.com to order, get more details. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere. Well, last night it was Mike Leake who was the story of the game, and so far this youngster, Matt Harvey, is the story of this night. He came in with a 1-3 record and a 3.6 earned run average, with a lot of high hopes of Mets fans on his shoulders. And Chris, he's been brilliant tonight.
Yeah, by far now, especially given the fact that he's gone 6 innings. Best start that he's had. Now, in this first start, he did go 5 1/3 of shutout baseball, struck out 11, so that was a nice debut. But he's working through a pretty good ball club right now that has been on some kind of roll, and he has just silenced the Reds to 1 hit. 7 punch-outs, 2 hits, 7 punch-outs.
Brandon drills this one into the left field corner. That'll be good for a 2-base hit. So Phillips is on for the first time. The Reds have a leadoff hitter on here in the 7th. The Reds got a hit batsman in the 5th, Ryan Ludwig, and an infield hit by Scott Rowland. The only 2 base runners they've had.
And one of the few mistakes that Harvey has made, they wanted it outside. It hung on in the middle of the plate, and Brandon goes down to get that ball, lashing it down the left field line. And Brandon Phillips, he is safe at second. He is safe and secure.
New York Life.
In stereo.
It's a rally cry tonight. It was rally ties the other night. It's a rally cry tonight.
I like it.
Here's Ludwig. Grounded out, hit by a pitch. Harvey from the stretch. Hasn't worked much from that stretch. First pitch swinging. Broken bat down to the pitcher, and they'll get him at first. 1 away. The runner goes to 3rd.
Yeah, you know, in a 1-run ball game, you say, hey, that's a great play right there because you get that runner over to 3rd. And it still is a solid play. You don't need them all in this inning, but you are running out of outs when you're down at the bottom of the 7th.
Here comes Jay Bruce. 2 strikeouts against this hard-throwing right-hander.
First time up, struck out on a breaking ball. Last time up, missed 2 consecutive fastballs that he just swung right through.
Drill towards the corner. It's going to be 2 hops to the warning track. That'll get a run in. Here comes Bruce around first, going to second. And Jay picks up the 2-bagger. And the Reds finally get on the board.
Now, both the doubles in this inning that the Reds have had off of Matt Harvey have come off of breaking balls down in the zone. Hung one over the center of the plate to Brandon Phillips. That was a first pitch slider. He's probably wondering to himself, why did I throw that pitch when I threw fastballs right by Jay Bruce? He and his catcher, Kelly Shopik, working together for the first time ever tonight.
Here's Frazier. 2 strikeouts for him, too. First pitch swinging, skied to right. Bruce will go halfway, then retreat to the bag. It's pulled in by Baxter, and there's 2 away. 2 pretty good swings finally from the Reds in this inning.
2 base hits, the doubles that the Reds have had. That may have been a changeup, but either way, it was an off-speed pitch. Here he's going to go another off-speed pitch, and when you see the catcher reaching for it like that, you realize that he's missed his spot by a good width of the plate. But when you've got a 6-run lead, you give up a couple of doubles in an inning, no problem if you've got 2 outs and you're already in the 7th.
Here comes Xavier Paul. He'll hit in the 7th spot where Simon was. Simon goes an inning and a third, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. Good appearance by Simon. And so far, Xavier Paul's made some great appearances off the bench for the Reds. He's been their best pinch hitter all season long. 6 for 15, Xavier Paul coming in. He's been outstanding off the bench.
I'll tell you, he's got a great attitude towards it, too. I mean, I think that everybody wants to be an everyday player. I mean, he's been a good fit.
Looped into left. Here comes Bay. He'll get it. Jason Bay, good first step, and that snuffs out the Reds rally, but a couple of doubles and the Reds are on the board. Bailey would like to have back. Ike Davis, a home run to lead off the fourth, 1-0. That started the rally for the Mets, and then after an intentional walk, Matt Harvey doubles to left to make it 3-0. 2 runs cross the plate. Wasn't over there. Jason Bay gets his first homer in a month to make it 4-0. That was in the 6th inning. And add a double by Ruben Tejada. He chases home Kelly Shopik. That makes it 5-0. And cap it off with a Mike Baxter base hit. 6-0 was your score. And that was it for Homer Bailey. Homer goes 5 1/3, 8 hits, 6 runs, 4 of them earned, 6 strikeouts, and 3 walks. That's the story of a 6-1 lead. As we,
you look at the line against Homer Bailey, as you said, George, 5 2/3, 8 hits, 6 runs, 4 of them earned. It didn't seem that bad. I don't think he really pitched that poorly. It just that. Had a couple of balls fall in on him, made mistakes at the worst time, and the worst time, of course, was after you intentionally walked the number 8 hitter to get to the pitcher and let that guy hit a double to drive a couple of runs in with 2 outs. So certainly room for improvement out there for Homer Bailey, but man, recently Reds fans have set the standard so high for their starting pitchers. We showed you at the beginning of the ball game, last 4 times the starters taken the mound. They really haven't given up diddly squat, and tonight a little different story.
Diddly squat is defined as 1 run in 34 innings coming into today.
Yeah.
Is that in the New Webster's Dictionary?
I like that.
Is that in the New Webster's Dictionary that's out?
The George Grand Glossary.
Here's Kelly Shopik. His first start as a Met, struck out, was intentionally walked in the 4th, and then scored on a base hit by Harvey, and reached on an error in the 6th.
And I'm looking down in that little camera well area just next to the Reds dugout where the Reds grounds crew hangs out.
It's sprinkling.
All of a sudden those guys have shown up.
Starting to sprinkle for the first time right now.
They sit underneath. They watch the ball game. There's Declan Mullen, also known as Doppler Declan. He was in the black shirt.
Doug Gallen's crew expected it around 9 o'clock. And they're right about on the money. Swing and a miss by Shopik. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Logan Andrusik takes over after Bailey goes 5 1/3. Simon an inning and a third, no hits. And here's Logan. Bottom dropped out of that, didn't it? Andrusik with the strikeout. That'll bring Harvey to the plate.
Now that's a curveball right there, and it's been a good pitch for Logan Andrusik. Another look, slow-mo, brought to you by Performance Honda. they don't want him to fall in love with that pitch. They want him to use his fastball more and more, and that's a little bit more like it at 95. Early in the year, he went from about 92 coming out of spring training all the way to 97, and they thought, wow, got a real closer in the making right here.
Harvey to center field. Stubbs back. He'll haul it in. Good at bats from Matt Harvey tonight. A double that plated 2. A sacrifice. That fly ball to center.
No kidding. Did he hit when he was down there at Carolina?
He sure hit at Fitch High School in Groton. He was the player of the year. When he didn't pitch, he played for his dad too. I mean, it's a great story. His dad Ed, his mom Jackie. His dad Ed went to the University of Connecticut. UConn had hoped to get him to stay, but he wanted big time and signed with North Carolina, which has been a highlight place for pitchers. So he got away from Jimmy Penders, the coach at the University of Connecticut. Mike Olds didn't. Olds really started well with the Texas Rangers, coming up one of the prime young prospects in all of baseball. Lee Mazzilli's son most recently played at UConn. Here's Tejada, a double that plated a run in the 6th, 1 for 4. Guy to the right side with 2 away. Phillips calling off Bruce. He's got it. And it's a 1-2-3 for Andrusek. Bullpen's done its job once again. Reds need some runs. 2 more cracks at it. Mesoraco leads it off. It's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. It hasn't been light. He's been heavy tonight. Matt Harvey's been outstanding, Chris, on the mound and at the plate, too.
Well, he really has, George. You know, he came in with a lot of, well, fanfare, a lot of talk about him, about this is the Met pitcher of the future, guy that will anchor a staff somewhere down the road, they hope. But in the meantime, he came in here tonight and he just silenced a very good hitting ball club who's been really on a roll lately.
Broken bat, looped into center. That gets the Reds started here in the 8th inning. Mesoraco reaches on a hit. For the Reds, the only hit so far, an infield hit by Rowland, that was in the 5th. Back-to-back doubles by Phillips and Bruce produced a run. And now this hit by Mesoraco.
He really needed one of these hits. I'll tell you, he has not had too many hits lately. In fact, he's only had one hit here in the month of August. Of course, he was on the 7-day disabled list with a concussion syndrome after getting smashed in a play at a play at the plate. You need a few of those to fall in.
First pitch swinging. The Reds get a runner. Here's Cairo hitting in the 9th spot in the order.
Well, their first pitch swinging because Matt Harvey's throwing strikes.
Reds hoping for some late lightning here. He's been steadily around 92, 93. That fastball 95, but wide for a ball, 1-1. Fastest on the radar tonight. John Brody down in the Fox box, keeping tabulation of it. 97. That's a lively arm, Chris.
Yeah, we've seen 97 earlier in the ball game. He's a guy, George, from what I read and what scouts have told me, that he's able to sustain that velocity, you know, late into a ball game. But he's been ultra efficient. Reds have helped him. I mean, this is at pitch number 80. And I don't mean 80 miles an hour either.
Pitch number 80, strike out number 8 for Harvey. 1 away, and here comes Kozar. Zach and Ofer so far tonight. Fly to left, bounced to second, and struck out. Hope you join us tomorrow as the Cubs come to town. Bronson Arroyo will go for his 9th win against former Red Travis Wood. Reds live at 6:30 in that one.
Wood pitched very well against the Reds up in Chicago.
Might have been his best game of the year. Hit pretty good to center. On his horse is Harrison at the warning track. He's got it. As Mesoraco retreats to first. You talk about Mike Leake last night being aggressive. It appeared that's what Travis Wood was doing in his start against the Reds.
Yeah, what he really had working against the Reds that day was that little cut fastball that he'd like go back door to right-handers on. So many right-handers are in that Reds lineup, and they will be again tomorrow night. He's got to have a way to get them out, and he threw that cutter and he put it right on the corner. Well, look at all the single-digit innings pitches that Matt Harvey's had tonight.
He's throwing strikes, and the Reds have been first pitch swinging. There's Stubbs. Bounced out, popped out, popped out. And the dirt scoop by Shopping. Milwaukee leads the Phillies 3-1 in the 4th. Atlanta leads San Diego 6-0. They're in the 7th. And Miami and Colorado are 1-1 in the 3rd. Told you earlier, Pirates held on to beat the Dodgers 10-6. So right now the Reds lead 6.5 over Pittsburgh in the Central. American League, Texas finally found a way to beat the Yankees 10-6 today. Boston leading Baltimore 5-3 in the 6th. White Sox leading Toronto 7-2 in the 8th. And Kansas City and Oakland are scoreless in the 5th. Two. Shopik held it that extra instant. Doesn't get the call from Jim Joyce. Try it again. Full count, 3-2. Zaracco off first. He'll be going on the delivery. Double duo activity down in the bullpen for the Mets. Bobby Parnell, the right-hander, Parnell the right-hander, and Josh Hedgen the left-hander up. And that's a walk. So the Reds get 2 on, and that'll bring up Brandon Phillips. We'll see what Terry Collins will do. He's popping out of the dugout, and he'll bring up Bobby Parnell. Now, they gave Harvey a chance to get through the 8th. But now in a 5-run game with 2 on and the power of the lineup coming up, it'll be it for Matt Harvey. But boy, he pitched a great game tonight in Cincinnati.
Yeah, he really did. Nothing to be ashamed of right there. It gives the Mets a lift, but maybe the Reds can reach this Mets bullpen like they have had before.
So while the pitching change takes place, we'll take time out for these messages. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. Good, giving Harvey a chance to close things out.
Well, when you've got a bullpen that has so many holes in it, like the Mets bullpen does, you are reluctant to go on out there. You didn't want to pick the phone up, much less make a motion to the umpire. Last in earned run average, 3rd most losses, 3rd most blown saves, 2nd highest walks per 9 innings. Boy, that'll get a bullpen in trouble. And there's nothing more disheartening for a ball club than to have a lead late in the game, lose it because of a bullpen meltdown. Reds fans don't have any idea what that's like if you just started following the team this year. So Bobby Parnell is really one of the best ones out there. Hard-throwing right-hander. The Reds are threatening here, and they've got a couple on base and a couple of hits right here. Might make this thing real interesting.
Here's Parnell facing Phillips. Brandon 1 for 3 against him in their matchups. He's 1 for 3 tonight. Double last time up, and he scored a run on a double by Bruce. The biggest discrepancy between these two teams refers to the number that Chris was just showing you. Not only are the Mets last, but the Reds are first in almost all those categories in the bullpen. So Dusty Baker knows he has a reliable pen to turn to. Terry Collins, not the same case, that's for sure. Strike 1 to Brandon. Tries to hold on it, does he? That's a strike, says Dan Iasonia. 0-2. Brendan has stepped it up in the second half with runners in scoring position over 300 again. Way high, but Chapik got a glove on it. 1-2. Missing up and in. 2-2. Reds a couple of hits away from making this interesting once again. And the meat of the order here. As Araujo reached on a base hit and Stubbs walked. That's a call, strike 3. So the Reds strand a couple of more runners. They've stranded 5. They trail 6-1 as we go to the 9th. Cincinnati Children's ranking 3rd in the nation again in the United States News and World Report's 2012 Best Children's Hospitals. And by the dependable, long-lasting Chevy Silverado in your tri-state Chevy dealers. Matt Harvey was dealing tonight. The Johnny Bench statue outside the Reds Hall of Fame. One of the great iconic spots to visit as you come to Great American Ballpark. Harvey, 7 2/3, 4 hits, 1 run, 8 strikeouts, and a walk. As we go to the top of the 9th, Chris Heisey comes into the game. He'll take over in center field. So Heisey's in center, and Jose Arredondo comes in.
Yeah, the Reds would love to see another nice, clean inning out of Arredondo the way they did out of Logan Ondrusek. Bullpen again has been lights out. Alfredo Simon an inning and a third on Ondrusek, a 1-2-3 inning, and Arredondo trying to get his team in the dugout so they can swing the bats and maybe give the Mets a finish.
2 strikeouts, a fly ball out, and a run scoring base hit in the 6th for Mike Baxter. That's been his night tonight. Frank Francisco up and loosening in the bullpen. That's a bouncer to Phillips. Brandon has it. Over to Baxter. They'll get him by a step. And here comes David Wright.
Well, two things going on here. I mean, one is you got a 6-1 lead, and the Mets are on their way tonight to go from here to Washington, D.C. Rain is in the area, and it's heavy rain soon to come to Cincinnati, and it's going to be here a long while. So if Arredondo's thinking at all, he's thinking these guys are going to be up here hacking. They want out of here quickly. They don't want a long rain delay and then get on a plane, then go to Washington and have to start play tomorrow against a first-place club there. I mean, they're going to get in late enough as it is. So throw strikes and they will swing.
Always bring your glove and sometimes bring your bumper shoot too. Look out. Wright singled his first time up on a 3-2 pitch against Bailey. Bounced to short. Bounced out to first and bounced into a fielder's choice to short. We've seen this Mets 3 times, this team, Chris, this year. 2 trips to New York and then their visit here. How far away are they as you look at 2013?
Well, I think their pitching staff, at least their starting rotation, if they come back healthy next year, is pretty set and solid, especially if you think that you can project, you know, Matt Harvey into the mix next year. They've got David Wright signed through next year. Of course, there'll probably talk about an extension for him between now and then, because he's right now the face of the organization. I like Tejada, shortstop, very nice young player, 22 years old. He's shown himself to be a very good hitter. Baxter, I'm not sure if he's the real deal, but he's hitting over 300 and getting on base at a high percentage. They've got some holes, there's no question about it. They've got to address what their catching situation is going to be next year going forward. And remember, above all things, that they're in New York. And even for a ball club that's gone through some financial problems with the whole Bernie Madoff scandal.
Heisey over, can't get it. It's past him. Will go all the way to the bullpen screen. That'll chase home a run, and Davis will have an extra base hit, a double. That combined with his home run earlier in the game gives him a 2-for-4 night. Great effort by Heisey. He was shaded towards right center, came a long way over and almost closed on it.
And one of the reasons why he did not close on it is because that ball coming off the bat of a left-hander is going to slice a little bit. Boy, what an effort, though.
Man. So a runner at second, 1 out, a run in, and it's 7-1. And here comes Scott Hairston.
Getting back to the Mets, I mean, they've had some financial problems. They don't know how much money at this point that they're going to be able to spend. They're never going to be able to outspend the Yankees. So it's not going to be easy. You've got some new teams in the National League East that have come up this year that, you know, for the last few years, it's been all Philadelphia Phillies. And believe me, they will be back. They draw 42,000 people a night there, and they've got a lot of cash to spend. So they'll be in the free agent market, I'm sure. They've got a great pitching staff. You got Washington now with a tremendous team this year. Atlanta having a good year. And that's always a tough division when you've got that many big market teams in the same division that you have.
Ball and a strike to Hairston with Turner on deck.
It's a common theme, George, you know, you see from time to time, and actually every other year or so, that the previous front office regime left a mess. So the new ones that come in first have to clean up the mess before they can go forward.
Don't we go through that with our presidential elections too?
I'm staying out of that one.
Always the same story. 2 balls, 1 strike. Bouncer down to second. Phillips will gobble it up and get the second out of the inning. Runner goes to third. Our 4th inning Nissan drive of the game got things started. Big one for Ike Davis, his 21st homer of the year. He finishes the day with 2 runs batted in. Our Nissan drive of the game. You know, Chris, the other part of that is, you know, there are front office moves, but it's the managers and the coaches that have to try to translate the change in philosophy and rebuilding a ball club. That's a 2-hopper down to short, kicks off the shoulder of Cozart, and a run will score. They're going to charge Cozart with an error. That took a wicked hop off his shoulder, and that'll be 8-1. So on a night where the Reds trail for the first time in the series, not only are they losing 8-1, but they uncharacteristically commit 3 errors on the evening.
Boy, even in the infield here, we saw something that we haven't seen for a long time, which is a ball going underneath the glove of Scott Rowland. You don't see that happen to Cozart very much. You get the feeling after everything went right last night that it doesn't go right every night.
Frazier, low throw, but Phillips will glove it and get the final out. So last roundup time for the Reds. They've got some big business to do. They trail at 8-1. Game. Well, the Reds have faltered on defense, but let's go back to Citi Field, Chris. Another one of the special plays of Brandon Phillips earlier this year. Rather, the effort by Phillips here against the Mets last time around. What a brilliant play.
You know, you have to come out early and watch Brandon Phillips during batting practice to realize that he practices those plays. Yeah. I mean, that's just not an impromptu thing that he's never done before. I mean, they actually take, I mean, every infielder probably takes 50 ground balls a day. But Brandon is taking at least that many, and some of those he's turning barehanded behind his back, through his legs, every which way you can.
Changes for the Mets. Frank Francisco is in to try to close it out. Andres Torres enters the game in center, and Scott Harrison moves to left. And in between innings, a big bolt of lightning in the sky almost chased Torres back to the dugout. He turned around and was talking to the second base umpire, Jimmy Reynolds, saying, I want out of here. There's a fly ball to right, going way back at the wall. It is gone. Ryan Ludwig delivers one the opposite way off Francisco. And the Reds get their second run on the board. Number 22 for Ludwig.
Well, that's a good-looking swing. Look how he keeps his head down and on that ball. Reds are up there hacking. I mean, here they are down 8-1, now down 8-2. They're swinging it.
Here's Bruce, 1 for 3, a double, knocked in the Reds' lone run prior to this inning. Another look at Ludwig's swing. Right on it.
Boy, he'd like to keep that in his personal reserve of video, you know, when you're feeling a little down in the dumps, not having a good day. Get out your little flip phone or your iPhone, whatever it is, and you dial that up, Ryan, and say, there I am, hit that opposite field home run. Good looking swing like that. Can't be all bad.
What's on your flip phone? Don Carmen?
I got your picture, George, in a bow tie. Makes me laugh every time.
It's not your home run?
No. They didn't have video back in those days. That's why I can tell everybody it went a lot farther than it really did.
Bruce to left. Line drive to the wall. It's off the wall. Rounding first, going to second. Throw coming in will not be in time, and Jay Bruce has his second double of the night. So back-to-back rockets off the Reds' bats. It is late lightning. Is it too late? Here comes Todd Frazier. Frazier tonight struck out, fly to right. For a ball. There's Heisey in the on-deck circle. That misses, and it's 3-0. By 6 coming into the 9th inning. Keep the line moving, as Jerry Narron would always say, and Frazier does. A walk. So a homer, a double, and a walk. And here comes Heisey.
And also here comes Dan Worthen, because Terry Collins told him, go out there and talk to him. Remind him that you've got a 6-run lead and that we've got a plane to catch. The problem is, in the 9th inning, you cannot rush things. You've got to let things take their own course, which is pitch by pitch. And as more rain begins to fall, the infield gets wet, the ball gets wet, and the footing for the pitcher gets a little bit treacherous. So when you land with your front foot, when you're Frank Francisco, and you slide just a little bit, if you're a full effort guy, and he is, then you're a little bit more susceptible to being off kilter when you throw it. A little harder to find that strike zone.
Well, this is a team that's had multiple people with saves. Francisco was dubbed the closer, but he struggled. He leads the team with 19 saves. Roush has gotten opportunities lately, and John Roush has now gotten up in the bullpen. 2 on, nobody out. That's way high for a ball. Numbers for Heisey with runners in scoring position at 269. The last 3 years running, he's been the Reds' best pinch hitter. And this is almost like a pinch hit appearance, as he came in on the switch last inning. He's looking at it that way. One ball, one strike. Bruce off second. Frazier off first. Breaking ball drops in there. Slap foul to the right side. And the Mets knew coming in they couldn't afford injuries to their starters or their bullpen. Francisco spent time on the disabled list with a pulled oblique muscle, and he struggled with his control when he's been in there. And one of the negative stories of their bullpen is they try to find a way to rebuild it. One and two. He gets it.
Quality pitch right there after missing with several in this inning. He deals up a pretty good one there to Heisey. Goes to the slider, down and away.
First out of the inning, here comes Devin Mesoraco. Mesoraco tonight. Popped out, bounced out, and singled in the 8th. Fastball up high, and it's a ball and a strike.
Yeah, you got to gear yourself up for the fastball when you're facing Francisco, because he does throw mid-90s, but he's got that nice little off-speed pitch that has good arm action with. That's what Mesoraco was fooled on his first pitch. Looking dead red. He's got more than one fan watching tonight. Devin Mesoraco does. One of them, his former manager of Louisville, Rick Sweet. Dialed in on MLB.com.
Two and one. And the dirt. Stranger things have happened in the 9th inning, and the Reds trying to find some magic in this 9th inning. Clips the outside corner for a strike, and will go full. 3-2. In the air to right field. Baxter's got a bead on it. The runners will hold, and there's 2 away. Well, the Reds down to their final out, and Miguel Cairo will come to the plate. Cairo struck out last time up. If you joined us late, Matt Harvey has pitched brilliantly tonight. 7 2/3 innings of 4-hit, 1-run baseball. Homer Bailey went 5 2/3, allowed 8 hits, 6 runs, 4 of them earned. Ike Davis with a home run in the 4th gave the Mets their first lead, and the Mets added 2 more in the inning. There's a bloop in the center. That's going to drop for a hit. Rounding third, coming to the plate will be Bruce, and the Reds get their 3rd run of the night. It's 8-3. Cairo delivers, and the Reds live for another out as Cozart will come to the plate. top of the order has been quiet tonight. Cozart 0 for 4. Stubbs was 0 for 3 and a walk while he was in there. This is high for ball 1. Steady rain continues to fall here at Great American Ballpark. Good eye, and it's 2-0. It'll take an effort for that to come through. 8-3 Mets in the ninth. Three and 0. Wilson Valdez with the pitcher spot due up next. Moved into the on-deck circle. That's a strike. Valdez and Hannigan, the two remaining on the bench for Dusty Baker. Steady now as Francisco tries to get his footing with 2 outs here in the ninth. Here's the 3-1. Drilled. It is fair into the corner. 1 run will score. Here comes Cairo around third. They're going to hold him. It's another double in the inning. Cozart delivers, and the Reds have moved to within slam range.
You grind it out, and you grind it out even if you're 0 for 4 like Zach Cozart is coming into this at bat. Something positive to build on as he lines this double, an RBI double in there, and tightens the ball game up just a little bit more.
Now, while the grounds crew of Doug Gallant comes out and tries to clean things up, John Roush is on his way in. We'll take time out for these messages. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. Is in the numbers and on the field. It's in the bullpen.
Well, you're right about that. I mean, one manager wants to go to his bullpen. The other one doesn't want to even be able to pick the phone up and call down there. The Mets have the worst earned run average. They're nearly worst in inherited runners scored and strikeouts to walk ratio. So, you add it all up, and they just can't close it out. Terry Collins has seen it, so he's going to go to a guy that has not been used as a closer a lot so far this year. John Roush, former Washington National, big tall guy, but from Louisville, Kentucky. He's only saved 2 ball games, 2 out of 5, but one of those saves came on Sunday against the Atlanta Braves when he pitched 1/3 of an inning to pick up his 2nd save of the year. That's exactly how many outs he needs in this ball game to pick up save number 3.
Roush did pitch in the first game of this series, his only appearance of the series. This now is a save situation in an 8-4 game with the tying run a factor as Valdez steps in. Here's the difficulty for Valdez. Righties are hitting under 200 against Roush. Big, tall righty delivers it.
Well, Roush is going to come right after Valdez because on deck you've got Phillips, Ludwig, and then Bruce. And this is the guy that he, I'm sure, wants to go after and just not take a chance of losing him.
He's ahead quickly, 0-2. Two on, Valdez at the plate. Phillips on deck, represents the tying run. He makes quick work of Wilson Valdez. So the Mets will salvage the final game of this series. 2 big guys tell the story. Matt Harvey, 7 2/3 innings of 4-hit 1-run baseball, and the biggest guy in their bullpen, John Roush, comes in for the final out and picks up the save. Ike Davis delivered big, a homer and a double, and the Mets hold on for an 8-4 victory. A whole lot more to talk about from Great American Ballpark. We'll be back with more after this.